Rick, I wanted to ask you a question about the Inquisition and the Crusades, because that's coming up, even though we've already talked about the Crusades, yeah?
Well,
No.
they're still coming up. The Crusades are about 600 years in the future from where we are in chapter 5.
Right. Yeah, those are around there. I figured they were hundreds of years into the future. But then, like, when did the Inquisition was after the Crusades, right? Or
Yeah. Yeah,
now,
Inquisition, it happens in the modern epoch. Most
but
we don't
like,
tell it that way, but the Inquisition is a response to the Reformation and the rise of the modern epoch and the modern worldview.
how did the Crusades? If the Crusades came before the Inquisition, was the Inquisition like a modern response to the Crusades? Like, was it in so much as to say, was the Inquisition a modern response to the Crusades in that it was a natural progression and evolution from and out of the Crusades?
Yeah, it was intended as a response to the Reformation and not to the Crusades, but it carried the same character, the same underlying character of the epoch as the Crusades, and where the Crusades started out being aimed outwards towards spreading the medieval worldview to other places, but by the end of the Crusades, they turned inward. They sacked Constantinople. And
Yeah,
Christians sacking Christians, and they also went after each other. There was a Albigensian crusade. They went after the Albigensians in France. So what we see with the Inquisition is, after a period of several centuries, initially the Christian world was ashamed of having turned on itself. And that's part of what brought the Crusades to an end, was the realization that this has gone terribly wrong. But under the pressure of the Reformation and the fear that everything they'd put together for 1,000 years was falling apart, they resorted to the old strategy, and they started trying to purify, France and Spain and Italy and
right.
that had not broken away, that were still Catholic. So there's the same character at work, but it's centuries later, and it's under new pressure.
Can you speak a little bit about what if the Inquisition would have happened? Is there any way that you can conceive, or has any modern or scholar of antiquity talked about the concept or idea that the Inquisition could have possibly precipitated the Crusades somehow?
It's the other way around. The Crusades came first.
I know, but has any scholar talked about, is there any way that the Inquisition could have came first? Possibly.
No, because the Inquisition is the kind of eating your own young thing that only happens after you've gotten into the habit of eating others. And it's easier to other people than it is to other your own. So when people are working their way up to turning inwards, they usually start by attacking others, and they get used to the fighting and the killing. And then it's a smaller step to say, well, why don't I just kill my neighbor too?
Was
Um,
the subject for the name of the rose, wasn't it? The roots of the Inquisition were in the early 1300s,
yes,
and
yes,
then it became more and more diabolical as time went on.
yes.
Right. Right.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing you have to work your way up to. It's like serial killers start, by killing animals and things before they work their way up to people.
And then they just kill one person first, and then they kill another.
Yeah. And the Inquisition was that kind of thing. It was a heinous thing to do, but it built
Yeah.
a practice that they'd had getting used to thinking that,
Right.
okay.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, this isn't something we're going to miss. We're gonna talk extensively about both the Crusades and the Inquisition in the
Yeah.
year ahead.